Hello, welcome. You are the new human. If you are watching this video and this makes sense to you, then you are the new human, and your body has a lot of little crystalline structures running, and you are becoming the new human with a crystalline body with higher frequencies. And the ego mind that's that's set up to function under the old 3D matrix energies is very angry because it doesn't know what to make of it. It's having problems making sense. Feels may seem like they don't make any sense to you. Like you feel like you don't belong in 3D because you know better than that, but you're not quite yet in 5D. So it's almost like we're like in this kind of like sort of in between, and our ego mind, it's translating that feeling into something's wrong. I'm sick. There's there's something bad going on. There's you don't know what to it doesn't know what to make of it. So you go to the hospital, nothing's wrong with you, but you still feel like there's something wrong. And that's because there's a disconnect right now. There's a disconnect with our new DNA structuring our body, and the ego mind is having it's sort of like having to catch up to that, and it's trying to figure it out, but it's going to take some time. So what it's doing is it's going into its memory bank, and you're trying to find ways of coping and finding ways that used to work before it made you feel better. But the thing is that that's not the problem, because there is no problem. Those old coping mechanisms are not going to work this time because this is all new, and we are in the process of making new connections and making new memory bank, putting more into our memory bank, and finding new ways of coping with these new energies. But because this is so new, we don't know exactly what that's going to look like. So this is going to make sense if you have been in the journey of a spiritual awakening, if you're a starseed light worker. um, Otherwise this may seem like, what is she talking about? This makes no sense, right? But the way the ego mind is interpreting and translating this into the body, it's like, I don't feel well, I'm bored, nothing's interesting here anymore, I'm over it, this place is a dump, 3D sucks, this place is horrible. Because you are starting to remember also being in higher frequencies in places that were lighter and felt um, less dense, less chaotic. You know, you feel places where you go into your dreams and you tap into other versions of yourself, and you feel like you come back, you wake up in the morning and you're back here, and you're like, it takes a little bit of time to adjust back to the frequencies here, and you're like, this doesn't make sense anymore. So the ego mind is angry, it doesn't know what to do, and it's going to reflect on us in feeling emotional swings, anxiety, maybe, fatigued. And the thing is that it's going to keep getting more intense. We have another solar eclipse coming up in September, and the energies are just building up, and the sun is building up until it gets into that huge solar flash, right? So we were, I mean, I want to say like even 2 weeks ago, we were like having incremental leaps of consciousness, but now we're like doing this at an exponential level. Like our we're having major leaps of consciousness in, I mean, like quantum levels. I feel like from one day to the next, it won't feel the same. Your experiences won't be the same. You go to sleep at night and you will have new experiences. You will go and tap into other versions of yourself. You might even start seeing your star family. You might find yourself in a ship. You might be, being in places that don't make sense either. So it's a very kind of confusing time, but in your body knows it and your ego mind knows it too, and it's making you think that there's something wrong, but it's just the adjustment part of it. And I am going through it too. Like I am going through the same mood swings where I just like moments where I try to find moments where I feel like, okay, well, this is not so bad, and then moments where it feels like, oh, this place sucks. And and then there's times where I just have memories of times where I was very happy, where I feel like I was happy. And that's usually when I was younger, as a child. And that makes sense because as a child, your connection to source is still very strong. You haven't been going through all this programming. You're just starting to go through it. But if you see a child feels like, they don't have limitations. They feel like they're superheroes. They feel like they can be anything they want to be because they know their potential. They see the potential as a quantum in the quantum field. They're still very connected to source, and they see themselves as an infinite creator still. There's no disconnection. But as you get older, you start to see and recognize more of these limitations. But as a child, your sense of happiness is totally different. And so, you know, um, even the children now, like the children that are now, like that I want to say from like 2015, maybe 2010, maybe those kids. Like you talk to a child about an alien or a spacecraft, they don't seem surprised about it. They just seem like, okay, you know. You talk about God, and they're like, okay, Jesus, okay. Like they don't complicate it. They're just okay, and they're just here to be basically, and that's the mind that we should all be in. Like just that that state of just being, and not thinking about the past, the future, because it's just living here in the now. But definitely our DNA has has upgraded, and we have more of a crystalline. And what I've been getting a lot in my meditations and through my star family is that we to remember that you are the crystal. We are the crystal, okay? We don't see ourselves as that, but we are the crystal, okay? And we are our own portals. We are what was the word that they said the other day? There was another word. We can teleport, basically, something like that, but that was not the word they used. But our potential is infinite, and like for me, I tap into other versions of me, other versions of reality, and I can totally. Before, they used to feel like they were dreams, but now I know they're not dreams because they feel just as real as these here. So how isn't this not a dream either? But so yeah, so right now the ego mind is like struggling to make sense of what's going on in the physical body, in our electric circuit. It's trying to make sense of it. Doesn't know what it feels, what it is. Okay, and so it's making us feel like, all kinds of different things, but mostly I feel like it makes like things don't make sense, and and it's like you don't belong here, but you're not quite there. So yeah, I just wanted to share that because I feel like I was reading some comments, And these things makes no sense to some people. Like some people are like, what, this makes no sense. But if you are in this frequency, and if you have been in this journey for a while, this will totally make sense to you. So I don't blame anyone who doesn't understand this and don't want to learn about it. It's free choice. um, but I think that there's something here that needs to be talked about, because yeah, there is the seen and the unseen part of things. And there's an unseen part where the energies are pretty much um, integrating our bodies into a new body, but it's also manifesting in this body in symptoms. And we are not familiar with the new energies, so we are going to try to make up excuses or explanations for why we're feeling what we're feeling. But that's because the ego mind, our self identity, the ego mind, the identity that we have of ourselves, that we understand as ourselves, it's not that anymore. So it's having a disconnect, and it's going to take some time to integrate your new identity. And just the only way to do it is just to like not expect anything. Just find ways of making yourself feel better with situations that actually increase your vibration and your frequency, because you are vibrating at a higher frequency now. So even like even things that you could tolerate before, like watching the news and all that stuff and scary movies or whatever, if you could handle that before, you cannot handle that now. And I think that's for two reasons. One, because it's a denser frequency, and it's very it's a lower denser frequency. But also because you know that a lot of these things that they were showing us are true. So you don't want to see that because you know it's real. So for some people think like it's still fantasy. That's okay. But for instance, for me, I don't want to see that because I know it's real. I don't want to see the news because I know it's all BS. Um, I know there's an underlying story to everything they say there. And now if you are in this higher frequency, you can totally see how like everything they talk about, it's like all they want to promote is just fighting and like arguing, and there's just bickering, like just argument. I mean, you used to watch all those shows, and it's like they have one, they have different people, and they're all talking about um different issues, but they're just going to like I mean, they're just having serious arguments. Like, I cannot handle those energies anymore. Honestly, I cannot handle those energies. I'm staying away from that. Because I can totally see the intent behind it. They don't people don't realize that, but there's an intent. There's a darker energy behind that, and that is to keep people in those denser energies. And so I cannot handle those energies anymore. I don't let them affect me, but I remove myself from that because I don't want to deal with those energies, and I want to keep my energies. I want to feel well. And the only way for that is for you to find the places and the situations that make you feel good. So, yeah, if you're having problems with, you know, just not making sense of things, it's because you're not the same person anymore, basically. And your mind is still trying to catch up to that, and it's going to take some time. But the more that you find better ways of coping and integrating new patterns, new systems that are higher frequency, the easier it's going to be. Okay, Because like I said, as long as we have a physical body, there will be some sort of ego. Um, and like I said, ego is not bad. It just kind of helps give you that illusion of separation and identity, and it's not what people were talking about as far as ego before. It wasn't meant to be that. It was not. It was misused. The word was misused. The purpose was misused, and the ego mind it was just a tool for for um, for the person, for the human body to have that experience away from source, because we're all source. We are part of it all. So in order to have that illusion, you needed to have that little bit of a self identity, basically. Um, so yeah, I hope this helps, and I hope it makes you feel like you're not the only person, and I hope this video gets to someone. Um, it bypasses the YouTube algorithms and it gets somewhere. Um, but if not, then I'm happy I'm talking to myself, I guess. Well, God bless you, and I'll talk to you in another video. Thank you.